Hey everybody, Stormy here. Welcome back to part 2 of the Titanfall 2 custom sword model tutorial. I had some people in the comments of the last video saying they were having issues with the first person models and swapping those around. So I'm here to quickly go over and show you how to get that side working. I've gone ahead and made a test folder here for Titan Sword. We worked on World Titan Sword last time. And this copy is so I can quickly go through and show you everything that I did to double check and make sure that the first person models do work. So we'll jump in here and you can see we have the ATPOV underscore Titan underscore sword model in this folder. And what you have to do is you have to jump in here and you go to your decompile. Everything stays the same. You just drag the model file in here and hit decompile right here, and that will make this decompiled 0.74 folder. And inside there should be a QC file and an ATPOV underscore Titan underscore sword underscore V underscore Titan underscore sword SMD file, which is our actual model file. And then the QC file is, of course, the document with all the code in it that allows us to set certain things up. Then we have a test folder that we create, and that keeps the old copy of this inside because we will replace this SMD file with our custom model later. Then we have our edit folder, which will house our blend file and any other files that we want to keep in here. Then the compiled folder is where we will, after swapping our model out, compile back into Hammer, and it will create the 4 files inside that we have to then recompile using MDL redacted and get the one converted model file that we can put in our mod folder. And then we also have an anims folder. So we're going to jump in here real quick, and I'm going to show you this Titan Sword test blend file. And you can see when we jump in, just like in the previous tutorial, we are going to import the QC file into this scene, and that's going to bring in the sword that then we are going to replace the OBJ file from our baseball bat with the sword that was already there, combine the sword model with the bat, and then delete the vertices of the sword model, just leaving the baseball bat. And then we select the rig, which in this case, because it's the first person model, it's going to have the arms included because this is going to be like what is actually in your view running the animations, right? And then we're going to also shift select the baseball bat, go into weight paint mode, make sure that we weight paint onto the weapon bone 100% so that it's all red. And then we go into our scene view, and then you'll use the source engine export to export our new SMD file out. And once that's done, then you'll have this file here. This file you will copy, you'll come back out here, move the old version of this file into test, and then you'll copy paste the new one that we just made in here. Then you'll bring it back into compile, and you'll drag the QR code or the QC file in here after making some edits, and then you will recompile, get into the compile folder, use MDL redacted, make the compiled file, and then you're going to move that over into here. You can see we have the world model already from the previous tutorial, and now we also have a POV Titan Sword model, and that's what we're going to work on for the next half hour or so. So let's go make another folder here. Let's go back out to Titan Sword. You can see we've got Titan Sword here as a copy, and then we've got the original. So let's jump into the original. And you can see there's no file here. So we're going to go into Crowbar and decompile, drag that one in, make sure that all of your check marks are correct, and then hit decompile. And then we get that folder. And then again, we're going to make an edit folder and a test folder. And then we're going to take this and drag it in here, make a copy of it so that in case something gets corrupted, we can come back here later. Then we're going to jump in here. And first couple things we're going to do, we're going to add underscore R2 in here. That's just so our folder structure for the textures that we had before still works on this model. And then we will rename this to bat. And then we're going to come down under here, under bone merge, and we're going to remove everything from here down because this is all the animations, and we're going to reference another file to get this to work, so we don't need those. Then we'll come back up here, and under here we're going to add 2 lines, and then I have this saved. So I'm going to go over to this one, and you'll see we have anim fix sword, which is not actually the correct name, but we're going to paste this in here, and then you'll see we don't actually want anim fix sword because there isn't one in here that's called that. We have anim fix world, which would be what this one uses, but for this model, we actually want to use anim fix attack because it's what was included with the mod template. So we're going to go here, get rid of sword, and make that say attack. And now we should be good to go. So let's save that and exit out. And then we can go into our edit folder. I'm going to grab this folder structure from the top, and then I'm going to open the correct version of Blender. Okay, and you can tell it's the correct version of Blender because when I go into the scene tab here, we do have the source engine export tools over here. Then we're going to go here, go import source engine, and then we're going to jump into the folder, but there's nothing here yet. That's fine. We'll come back out here, select our QC file, uncheck import animations, and import it. So now you can see we've got the whole rig, including the hands and the body and the legs and stuff, and our sword that should be tied to the weapon bone. Now what we're going to do is got to move this a little bit because it's a little buggy and sometimes the file button goes away. We're going to import an OBJ file. Come back here, and I know that I have from the World Titan model, I have exported the baseball bat sword that we edited in the last episode as an OBJ file. So I'm going to import that, and you'll see it lines up immediately, which is great. So now we're just going to make sure none of these vertices are selected. So we're just going to double hit A on that. Then we're going to open this, and we're going to double hit A to deselect, and then hit A one more time, just to make sure all of the vertices of the sword are selected. And then we're going to do that, and then this. Control J them together. And you can see now in the top corner that the sword has the right name. So now we can delete this, and go down here, do the same thing again, delete the sword material, and then we can get rid of float 2. And then we'll take this and shift click on that, go into weight paint mode, right, hit, hold down the Alt key and right click to select from all the bones that are at that spot and choose weapon bone. There we go. All right. And we're just gonna bring up the radius a bit here and drag our mouse over the whole thing. Drag our mouse over the whole thing. I'm gonna go on the bottom side, do the same thing, and we're just going to double check it's all red, which means we're good. So now we can go out of weight paint mode, select our dude again, and then we can go to the scene, go here. We have to select our export path, so I'm just going to paste in that edit folder. So now we have our export path in there. Hit SMD, and then we need to save this as well. So I'm going to paste in our new folder, and this is Bat Sword Part 2 Blend. Cool. And then we're going to export with the scene. And it's just one file, so we're good there. So now we can hit save and exit out of here. Let's just make sure this is the right folder. It is. So now we can go here, and we have already copied it into the test file, so we can copy the new one and straight replace it with the old one. And now we have both files. So we can go to the crowbar and compile, drag our QC file in, hit compile. And we got a compiled folder, which means it didn't break, which is great. So now we can do Titan Sword. Right now we have Titan Sword in here already. I'm going to go ahead and remove it because that was the old one from before recording. So now we're going to open MDL redacted. We're going to drag the VTX file in, drag the model file in, drag the VVD file in. I had models in those 3 slots before, but I just overrode them because it was from the copy file. Then we'll hit check and we will hit convert. And now we've got our final model. We'll just copy it over into here and we will remove the conversion at the end there. And now this should work. So let's open up Flight Core here, launch the game. Okay. We can launch North Star. And then I'm going to launch us into a private match. Okay, so now we're in. I'm going to jump up here. Now Ronin's coming in. Awesome. And you can see the bat has been replaced on the world model just like it's supposed to. And then if we jump into the cockpit, we don't see anything right now. If I hit the block key, we haven't replaced the block animation yet, so it's still the normal sword here. If I do the EMP wave, you can see it's still the same EMP wave animation. But if I do the attack animation, which is the Titan sword model that we replaced, you can see that the bat actually does appear. So we know that it is working. So that is what you have to do for the in-cockpit models. And then anytime you're going to change from being like the Titan sword model, which is just your attack, your normal melee, to like the EMP or the block model, you just have to go into your QC file and change the include model to be the equivalent for whatever animation you're doing. So attack is what we're doing right now. If we're doing the EMP model, you have to make it the EMP. If you're doing block, you have to make it block, and then compile with that name, and everything should update, and you should be able to see your model in the game. So I hope that helped. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'll be watching to answer any questions I can. So I hope that helped, and until next time, I'll see you in Titanfall.